Thank you all for joining us. Why don't we just close our eyes for a second? Just tune out the physical world. Tuning out of any worries or problems. Anything that brings suffering, let's just put that aside for right now. We are creating a space of openness, of expanding and learning. As we all share our stories here, we are all learning. We are all teaching. So I pray that we open our ears, open our minds, and open our hearts to the information that will be shared tonight. I pray that we gain useful information to help us on our path, to help us on our mission, to allow us to manifest heaven on earth, to manifest an Ong Wei Hong Wei, one tribe, one planet. I just want to welcome everybody. Welcome to this space. Welcome to this podcast. Welcome to Project Bring Me to Life. All right, so as we open our eyes now, we come back. We're here in the roundtable discussion. And before I hand it over to the facilitator for this evening, I just wanted to say welcome to the Project Bring Me to Life podcast. It is our 26th podcast tonight, so I'm very excited. This is our first official roundtable because we prefer the term roundtable because it's a symbol of equality. We come here as equals. It's also a place of openness. We are not here to say we're right and you're wrong. After all, we are all here on Earth to have unique and different perspectives and understandings. Let us all be honest, open, and clairvoyant in our discussion tonight. Make sure also to subscribe to our website for a chance to win a free handmade journal by Shantastic Shaman.
Awesome.
Yep. Thank you. Cool. So, over to the facilitator, Shantastic Shaman.
Awesome. Well, I just want to welcome everybody, and I'm excited to hopefully learn a few things from these awesome gentlemen that we have speaking on the astral plane tonight. I thought that it would be good if we just have everyone introduce themselves and explain why you wanted to be a part of this discussion, and then we'll just break into a couple of questions to keep the discussion flowing. Silman, did you want to start first?
Sure, yes. So I have been researching and developing my understanding of the astral plane for about 2 years. It's been on and off, but I've been steadily working to a point to where I can have my own experiences. And that's actually where I first started researching, was trying to do this stuff on my own. And for some reason now, after 2 years, I want to get into the more tangible, physical, scientific proofs or explanations for this type of event. I've been researching pretty deeply the last few weeks, trying to get ready for this roundtable, and so I'm very honored to be here with everybody, and thank you all for allowing me to share this space with you and to talk about such an amazing. It's a gigantic topic. It's ridiculous, but it's very important. I feel myself, for people on their spiritual path here on Earth. So, again, thank you all for being here, and I'm excited.
Awesome. All right, so can we get Nick Nikki to give us a little about him?
Could you move closer to the mic? We can't hear you.
Is that better?
I guess it's my laptop.
I think you just need to turn your audio up.
Okay, if somebody in the chat, can you hear Nick? Give us a 111 if you can hear Nick.
Hello.
That sounds better.
Now we can hear Nick.
Okay.
Yeah, the dreams, when I first started my spiritual path, my dreams were kind of just really weird and crazy, so it got me interested into that, and through just chatting with different friends and researching online, found out that I just really enjoy finding out all things about that and seeing how to strengthen those non-physical muscles, I guess. And yeah, just really excited to be here with all of you guys and get your perspectives and just all create some giant big brain of oneness and hopefully help out other viewers and put this message out there, because like you said, this is a really big topic and a lot of people have conflicting views, and I think this is going to put to rest some of the confusion that people may have.
Are you good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. And Ashton, can you hear me? Hold on one second. I can't hear you. There you go. Go, Tom.
Is that better?
Yeah, it was
All right. Yeah, so I'm Ashton. The spiritual journey started for me a long time ago. I've dove headfirst into learning about the different dimensions, what every dimension means. When someone talks about the fifth dimension or anything, you know, I kind of have a symbolic idea of what that all means and what it means to be here on Earth and be a multi-dimensional being in general. And I've had crazy dreams and experiences, past life regressions, and all that jazz. So I'm super excited to be here and start talking about it all.
Awesome. And Babananda, you are new to the podcast, so welcome. And would you like to tell us a little about you and make sure I said your name right?
Yes, you did. And am I coming through?
1 second. There we go.
Okay.
Sorry.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I'm Babananda Christensen. So, and one of my...
Are you muted? Got him at full volume.
No, I don't know. Seemed odd with everybody that's through.
Ask people if then.
You can hear me, Ashton?
Maybe.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. Again? Take two. I am Babananda Christensen. Thank you for having me here on this podcast. And what drew me into this was the talking about the astral plane and what it entails. And I've had quite a few experiences, more than I could even count, you know, in a waking consciousness. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to share whatever perspectives or whatever experiences that wanted to come through. My guides were also very eager for me to join and participate as well, which my life is always influenced by my guides and which way we move, so we work in tandem. And I also really wanted to bring a focus and awareness, you know, and just a way to view even the term and the way we associate what is the astral plane, and just broadening our horizons and opening up. And also, you know, they said, you know, not to be so specific where it gets back into the mind, but to be open and expansive in the heart, and that it's, you know, and just a new way to present it. So that is what led me here, why I wanted to participate, so on many different levels. So thank you again for having me, and I look forward to sharing and co-creating. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Awesome. Well, All right, let's do this again. Awesome. Well, I am glad that we are all here tonight and able to open discussion. The first question that I think we were going to open with is, what do you believe the main purpose of the astral plane is? And let's see. Just making sure that I didn't do it all in the wrong sequence. So let's see here. The main purpose of the astral plane. Nikki, do you want to start for us?
Hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, for me, what I've experienced.
Yeah, speak up a little bit.
The astral plane, for me, in the dreams, is based off of how I perceive reality when I'm awake. So whatever judgment, whatever things I'm thinking about and dealing with is what I experience in dreams. And then I can create more of I don't know why you can't hear me. I can create more of a well-rounded view of the world that comes through in the dreams as well. And I can get more tangible messages to assist myself and to assist others through various experiences. And it gets more fun that way, as opposed to a few years ago when I had a lot of judgments on people and myself. Dreams would be much more chaotic, and they wouldn't really have a specific message to come through. And now various guides and various friends that I have in the physical come through in dreams and interact with me and allow a much more tangible and concise message to come through to assist in various things that I may be dealing with. Can't hear you, Jen.
Yeah, Shan's muted.
Are we still muted?
No, you're good.
There you go.
This is ridiculous tonight, guys.
Darn you, TD!
I'm sorry.
Right now, really
We had to
bad.
completely switch our microphone and webcam from 2 different laptops, but we did it. So thanks for that beautiful introduction, Nikki.
Thank you.
Awesome. Babananda, did you want to give us what you believe the main purpose of the astral plane is, or elaborate a little bit on what Maniki told us?
Sure, I would love to. Thank you. And first, going into it, and before I share on it, just something I would like to share and what has been presented to me and what I've had experienced is the astral plane, that there is an astral plane and an etheric plane. And those being two different aspects and two different realities. So without further elaborating, why was the astral plane, why do I believe the astral plane was created? To my own awareness and experience, the astral plane could be best considered a miscreation, if you will, a place of unconscious, from what I've learned. And to my own experience, much of what we see, kind of the weird, chaotic stuff that sometimes comes in dreams or experiences, the perceived, what they call hell realities, where it's just a lot of disharmony or kind of weird, reality in existence. So, but of course, everything has a purpose. So I wouldn't say not that it plays a specific role. I think ultimately it's to show us the nature of our subconscious and how easily it can manifest and how it creates a place that is not of unity, that is not supporting what our truth is. And so therefore, in our own reality, perhaps we don't see it on one level, and that it is manifested into a different reality so that we could see it in a different light and bring that to awareness, because I feel what the earth plane represents a lot is the unconscious being expressed into manifest form, which is what what we call chaos or whatever, disharmony, discord, and what we're here to change and create an entirely new reality. So what I believe the astral plane was created for, to give us a new awareness, a new perspective, to see where there's opportunity to change our entire being in the way that we create and move into heart-based and not mind-based, which would be maybe ego consciousness. And I think that's where the ego has many different controls, or directive, where it's always trying to direct as opposed to flow and synchronicity, or create a harmonic expression. So that's what I feel the astral plane has been created, and also in conjunction with what my guides share as well. So I'll leave it at that for now, and thank you for the mention.
Awesome.
Missing something, or is it supposed to be quiet?
Hello.
Wow.
Whoa.
So I got completely knocked out.
Echo.
Can anybody hear me? Can't hear me?
Yes.
They can hear you, but not me.
Uh,
They can't hear me. Why can't you guys hear me?
I hear you now.
Now through my microphone. But we can't.
You guys.
Oh, this is ridiculous. We've never had this many technical difficulties.
Say hello.
Maybe you could switch to just one computer and microphone?
You
I am. No, I'm not.
not.
All right. Sorry.
Are we still live?
No, actually, guys, I think we were somehow the internet connection got lost and we were disconnected. Oh.
It still says broadcast. It doesn't say stop. It says we're live.
We saw you. We saw your lips moving, but we heard nothing. At least I did on this side. That you were
The whole
both.
time? I didn't disappear at all?
Well, yeah, you're just yeah. I guess you did, but yeah.
My whole screen went black, guys. So let's see if we're still
I think
live.
we are.
I think we're still live.
People are on there. Okay, do 222 if you can hear us and we are still live. Because that would be freaking awesome. Because the angels would save the day. 2. Triple twos, yeah.
Awesome. Everyone keep saying.
Well, I'm waiting for the 2. It's coming. That was interesting. The connection got lost, and then we got turned back on.
I don't even have a clue. Okay. We're still live.
All right.
Awesome. Okay, so we're back. I'm gonna simply reintroduce you guys real quick, and then we'll just go from there. We got Silma, Nick Nikki,
Hello.
Ashton Robertson, woo, and Babananda.
Babananda. Yeah.
And I'm fantastic, and I think we've got our technical difficulties a little figured out now. We can hear everybody. Everybody can hear us, so we're gonna keep this going. Sorry that was all live. And we're glad that you stuck with us because we usually don't have that many problems.
That's
So
a big moment.
did anybody else want to give us a description of what the main purpose of the astral plane is, or?
Yeah, I think everybody should get a chance for that.
Okay. Well, that way we can all be heard. So, go for it. Who do you want to start back first?
Yeah,
Selma?
I think we should all take turns again because I didn't really get to hear people's because everything was messing up.
Understandable. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and who went first last time? Nick, were you first? Did I call you out? All right. Do you want to go ahead and give us another short blurb of why you think the astral plane is important to us and here for us?
Yeah, does this sound good?
Yeah, your mic sounds so good.
Yeah, before you literally kept cutting out like aliens, and I feel like maybe they were just trying to tap in and make sure we discussed everything properly.
So for me and my experience that I've had thus far, the astral plane to me is equivalent to the dream world, which is equivalent to a projection of the mind. So however the mind is structured, however the person views reality, is how the dreams are going to be structured, how the astral plane for them is going to be structured. So originally my dreams were very chaotic and a lot of psychic attacks and bad things. And then when my views of the world changed, when the mind became more relaxed and not so judgmental, not so forceful, the dreams reflected that as well. And from there, I was able to achieve more of a calm dream state where different guides and physical friends would come and we would share experiences and messages would get delivered to me to assist here more in the physical. And these messages have pointed me to kind of not so much worry about the dream world, but more to expand conscious awareness in the body, whether through meditation or exercise or various forms of energy changing. So it's kind of, for me, it's just the dream world.
Beautiful. All right, and Babananda, did you want to give us another short description again? I'm sorry to have you repeat it. We usually don't have that many technical difficulties.
I would love to.
Thanks.
Yeah. So what, first and foremost, before answering the question, I'd like to share what I see is, there's the astral realm or the astral plane and the etheric plane. And what I have seen, the astral plane is similar to what Nick has shared, a product of the mind or a product of the ego, and that it is very, let's say, chaotic, has a lot of discord within it. And why is it being created? I feel that it is offering us a new reflection, a new perspective, and something that we can't see in our everyday reality. I believe that we need more reinforcement of the opportunity that exists, that we're not living through our heart, but living through our mind. And so, therefore, if we're not seeing this reflection and this opportunity in our current physical reality, it is manifested into a inner plane of consciousness, which can be experienced, through meditation or through dream reality, and it comes through, and basically this discordant, vibration with kind of weird scenes, attacks, kind of things that just may be uncomfortable, and it's showing us where there's opportunity that we're imbalanced, within some part of our being, and that there is something to work out and to work, to basically integrate. And so having the astral plane in creation is allowing more awareness that, hey, this is not a reality we want to exist in. How do we shift that? And so those of us that are exploring it in the many different facets then can share that and say, well, okay, through our own, trials and tribulations, we should move back into the heart and see that the astral plane is no longer the current reality for us, or even a situation that we have to go through. And when we see that on the personal reflection, we can then share that for the entire collective consciousness, therefore moving to a new way to exist, and therefore create an entirely new reality, one that is co-creative and in harmony. So, in short detail, that's what I see the purpose for the astral plane. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Beautiful. It sounds like you were full of knowledge, and we're excited to hear what else you have to share. So I'm going to go ahead and move to Ashton. Do you want to give us your description of the astral plane?
Yeah, totally. I really like what Babananda had to say, deciphering the difference between the astral plane and the etheric plane. We'll get more into that deeper, but I kind of just presume that most people, when they think of like outside of Earth realities, there's just the astral plane. I tend to think of the astral plane as more like the fourth dimension, like this in-between octaves of like where we are on Earth now and where we're headed to. Say a fifth dimensional, like higher vibrational, more harmony-esque type reality. And what I've experienced in the astral realm is negative thought form entities, negative ET entities, lots of gooey, sticky, like really nightmare land is, I would say, in the astral plane. But again, it's this super perfect contrast for our beings to experience these really negative things, because it's like, well, that's definitely not what I want to experience, but it's also coming through me, so it's something that creation wants you to experience. So through your higher self, you can kind of release those patterns by experiencing them and going into a state of non-judgment. Because I've experienced them, and it's like, oh, you have to, really like fight and like battle up against these entities. And recently, what I've experienced is just transmuting them. It works way better.
That's awesome. I'm learning so much just listening to you guys give your introductions, because part of the reason I wanted to facilitate was I felt like I learned better from hearing other people's experiences and explanations of it than me trying to research it myself. So I'm thankful. And Silman, it's your turn to explain what your view of the astral plane is.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed what everybody else had to say, and I would definitely agree with Ashton when he said that. It's like the in-between place to go. And my early definition of the astral plane is it's a little bit different now after going through some research. And I found a few definitions online. One of them was talking about the astral plane is based off of what is going on within yourself, as in your emotions and your thoughts. And it is a place that is created by thought, and it can have the physical plane sort of holographed into it based on our experiences here on Earth. And also in astral plane, you're said to be able to go to different galaxies, planets, and whatnot. And that's something that I've had personal experience with, and I've done that, and I've gone through that. And the definition for astral projection can be so broad. The military calls it remote viewing, and that's when you can leave your body and go and see real places and real events. And I just lost my train of thought, but I do have this here. And it says that the astral realm, instead of mirroring physical form, it symbolically mirrors emotional and psychic energy patterns, like based on what you're thinking at the time. If you astral project, you will create that. There's very little difference from what I found in my research that astral projection and dreaming are different. I haven't seen anything that supports the fact that they are different. However, people can consciously project themselves in their astral body, also called the emotional body, to those places. And they can do that while being conscious of their physical body in that physical present moment. But looking online, searching, like, it's a very broad subject, and I feel like I've got more questions than I've gotten answers. And there's this form of philosophy called theosophy, and a lot of theosophists talk about the astral plane. There's a Sanskrit word for it, Kamaloka, I believe, and it's in all these different religions. For instance, Christianity, it's also in Christianity. So there's evidence to support the fact that astral projection is real and it is tangible. But to define what it is very difficult if you have not experienced it, because you can fly and you can go to different worlds, different galaxies, different sort of dimensions. And one of the websites that I found online talked about seven different dimensions of astral projection. One was the lower astral, which is more physical. There's one lower astral that is non-physical, the astral plane, the higher astral, the etheric, interplanetary and intergalactic etheric, and the higher self integration. And based on these different levels, there's just different levels of vibration within yourself to be able to travel to those places. But again, if you are searching for an answer as to what astral projection is, the best thing that you could do is to try and experience it for yourself to see if it is real. And that is the only way I think you will find the answers that you may be looking for. At least that's what I got when I was doing my research.
Well, it sounds like you really looked into it, and then that, like I said, it's going to be an awesome discussion. Did anyone want to add to the purpose before we break into some more open discussion? Is that good with everyone, or does anyone have anything else?
No.
All right. Sounds like we're gonna move on. And now that we got like what everyone's personal view of the astral plane is, let's just kind of, you guys, if you want to feed onto what someone else says, we can open it up like a round table, and I'll try to make sure that your scene is heard. And the first real discussion is like, how do you think the planes like affect us here, in like the physical world? If you do something in the astral world, does it have an effect here? Does anyone want to open that discussion?
I would say yes, it definitely 100% is affecting our world. I would say it's pretty evident just by kind of walking around and reading the news that some of these negative entities have kind of started, well, have pretty much, I don't know if control is the best word, but really like controlled the Earth plane, 3D, for a while. And it seems as if some of the missions of the Starseed is to incarnate here now to like break that vibrational pattern so we can start getting more harmony and more awesomeness instead of the gooey backwards Z stuff.
Awesome. Do you think the people you said that are kind of like, I don't know, not necessarily controlling like you said, but they have more pull in this world, do you think it's because they've mastered being able to meet up with other people, or making things happen in the astral realm so that they don't have to spend as much time doing it in the physical realm? Or does anyone have any thoughts on like how that's affecting us?
Let me go ahead if I can. And touching on what Ashton was speaking of, how it's all interrelated and effective is, it's a direct reflection of our true creatorship, I see. And those, what I like to call catalysts of change without giving them a negative connotation, but simply showing us a reflection of opportunity. And what is being shown to us is how instantly our mind can create something, what we think and what we directly manifest. And so therefore it manifests into a vibrational field that is not necessarily seen, and then it eventually becomes into the physical, which we build upon. And therefore, so we're, feeding itself, that's creation, like the figure eight, no matter at what level of consciousness or no matter how many dimensional realities, they're all, supporting one another in some level. Some just have greater precedence depending on what vibrational spectrum you find yourself in. So the earth plane I see is directly affected by the astral plane, that they're kind of running really side by side, and that the more that we allow the ego to basically dictate our lives, it goes into that field of the astral, and the astral coming back. And so therefore we have created more lessons, more teachers, if you will, for these what we deem negative or dark forces. They're not, they all come from God as well. There's no need to put outside of ourselves. They're here to show us that we're creating from a place that is not in vibrational alignment with our absolute truth. And our absolute truth being your heart-based beings, but we're creating from a limited scope, which is our mind. And so this mind is creating what is known as the astral plane. So we were not seeing that reflection to our physical reality. So therefore, it's, we're taken now to the unseen reality to also see it there, to say, you cannot deny this. We're going to show you on multiple levels until you find enough influence and encouragement to say, I no longer want to experience this source of disconnection, separation, and disharmony and discord. They just don't resonate with me any longer, and it's not a reality that I wish to experience anymore. So whatever needs to come through these realities is being amplified till it pushes us to the threshold of discomfort that we say, I will no longer take this. I am going to find a solution, making us release whatever we think reality is, and saying, okay, I surrender. What is it really? Okay, now we open our cup again and say, okay, something else needs to come in, and we start seeing this is where we're getting the support from the etheric planes that are saying, okay, they're ready to let go of control. They're ready to let go and say, maybe reality exists, that something that they can't fathom yet. Let's fill their cup a little bit now that they've emptied it. And so that's what I see, this interplay between our reality, the astral plane, and why it still exists. And of course, the opportunity that it presents itself. It's a great teacher. It's a great catalyst for evolution, because we found ourselves laggard in our own reality, and so we needed this lesson. And it's been beautiful. It maybe doesn't seem so beautiful when it's being experienced, but here we are in my own personal reality. I can say it's been the biggest catalyst to help me to move back into more of an unconditional love and a heart-based consciousness, because I can now love those things, those images, those vibrations that I didn't feel comfortable with before. It's an integration, saying that I don't have to experience it, nor do I have to react to it. I just need to love it and see that it's a vibration that's true. So that would be my perspective on that particular question.
That's awesome. So pretty much you're using it, well, your higher self is using it as a tool to guide your physical realm, and it's helping you release different aspects of your life. Is that what you were saying, pretty much?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My life and everybody's life, and we're sharing it too.
That's awesome. I fully agree with that. And I'm glad that someone else outside does, because that clears it up a little bit for me. Suleiman, did you have anything you wanted to add to how you think it affects us?
Yeah, I do. I was reading, as I was mentioning, the seven different dimensions of the astral plane. Basically, like, when people pass, their body goes to the stage, the in-between, and what they experience is what is, in their emotional energy fields and their thought forms. And so, like in the movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come, when you wake up to that existence in the astral, you could be in a lower part of the astral, and it will seem like hell to you. And this, I feel, is related to Christianity, saying there's a hell. That is what I feel like that would be. And if you saw the movie What Dreams May Come, you'll see that Robin Williams' wife was in her own literal hell, because in her mind she was suffering. But you can, with your emotional energy fields and thoughts, you can create yourself a higher plane of existence on the astral plane. And in there, I feel like you can receive guidance from angels or spiritual guides, ascended masters, and anybody who may be guiding you on your path on Earth, guardian angels. And so, if you can, you can make sure that your vibration is very high. Your thoughts are based on love and compassion and just higher vibratory feelings and thoughts. And then when you astral project, you can meet these guides, and you can bring that information back to you to serve as even more motivation to continue on your path, because you know that it's for a reason, and your guides will give you really good advice for being able to stay straight and clairvoyant in your mission. Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
Nick, did you want to add anything? You're kind of quiet.
I completely share the sentiments of Babananda and Silo. I mean, I would explain it in other ways, but they made it so concise that there isn't really I don't feel the need to explain it any further. I am kind of viewing it in the exact, same type of deal. You get messages from upstairs, if you will, but it's inside, and that allows you to be able to find the courage to release things, and by releasing those, accepting what experiences are put out for you to experience, the mind is able to calm down, and the heart is able to gain that extra fuel and really kind of.
Awesome. So it seems like... Are you going? Sorry, you cut out. You still there?
I'm still here.
Awesome. It seems like everyone's generally on the same page as the astral realm is here for us as a tool, and that our angels and guides and things are talking to us about it. But what about like gifts in the astral realm? Do you guys believe certain gifts can be granted in the astral realm versus the physical, or do they kind of coincide together, or what's someone's view on that?
Yeah, I've received many gifts in the astral realm through meditations. Essentially, I would go into these meditations, and there would be a spiritual guide, like on each direction, north, east, south, and west. And every time you would exchange gifts with the spirit guide, and I got a vial of violet flame. I got a dragon key that opens any door to any dimension and closes any door. I got Kundalini energy upgrades, a lightsaber, sword, and like the lightsaber and sword was like to cut like etheric cords from entities that were attached to me, or versions of myself that I was attached to that I didn't really resonate with anymore, so I was letting go. I really like what Babananda was saying about how these negative entities are really aspects of ourselves and the one true being that we are. So once you can see that, you get into that heart space. You're like, oh, well, it's not so bad if it's just a projection of like the deep subconscious of our God selves, like that total ultimate form of contrast is what I'm like feeling and hearing. Like all these super negative realms are just what we need to propel us forward. Really, is exactly what he was saying. And shamanism has been doing this for thousands upon thousands of years, where they go to the higher planes, pull back, whether it be medicinal information, spiritual information, emotional information, and bring it back into this physical realm to ground it, integrate it, and share with the rest of the tribe, which is what really so much of us are really doing now. There's visionary painters and musicians and poets, and we're really all just shamans pulling information from higher densities into our world to better everyone and accelerate the healing of the planet.
Awesome. I like that list of gifts you're given. Sounds like a pretty awesome experience. Did anyone else receive any gifts in the astral realm?
Yeah, definitely.
You want to tell us about them?
Yeah. One actually was from my friend Miss Snow, and he gifted a stone and said meditate with this, and there's something that you reconnect with, basically. So, and so basically, I had the stone and I did meditate, and this is all happening, within the mind's eye, but still very real. And there's this gigantic dragon that I ended up riding around just in space for a while, and there's many gifts you can receive while in astral. Guides can bestow upon you different sort of energies or alterations or upgrades. We in the physical world we can receive downloads such as the Kundalini awakening, and stuff like that can also happen in the astral. So there's just an amazing amount of things that you can bring back with you. Even if you can't see it in the physical, it's still there.
Babananda or Nick,
Yeah.
you guys, any gifts you received?
Yeah, I would like to share that I have received gifts from the etheric planes as well as the astral planes. And I would like to clarify from my own perspective and also my guidance, that which comes from the astral plane is distorted. Those gifts that I have received from the astral plane that have come through have not been in full vibrational alignment to the absolute reality, though they are a gift because they taught me discernment. They taught me to show that when I use these energies, which are a mimicking of the etheric gifts, they actually brought distortion into my field or whoever that I shared it with. And much of when we see the astral realm, as we've expressed, that it is chaotic or much of the egoic aspect. And when I started to make the full connection and the distinction between the astral to the etheric was when I was able to bring more of the higher light coding, which is without any distortions through it, and that being the biggest difference between the two. The one taught me that if I was existing in the mind and I was connecting to my guidance through the mind, then I was pulling it from a place that was not in alignment with the God creator source so much in the way that our truth is. When I started getting to the etheric planes, it was coming through the heart. And when it's through the heart, I could feel it. Within that, that is what our intuitive sense is in the way that it's shown, that if somebody handed you or energetically passed you either an etheric gift or an astral gift, if you would be able to tell the distinction only through the heart. The mind could not actually distinct between the two, and that is what the greatest lesson that it offers us. So outside of that, what I have learned is to therefore connect and pull only through the etheric, and in the etheric, I pull through unlimited gifts. I meditate regularly to connect to that plane and pull through many different light codes, templates, blueprints, and many different ways to really accelerate the vibrational field, which is allowing you to spin more. And everything is basically a light code. The light code allows you to spin a little bit faster and a little bit faster. And they've shown me them as, just like Ashton explained, as items. so that we can identify with it. It's fun, and when we see much of our iconographic basically realities that the different religious sects have shown us, those are the way that many of these key codes, if you will, is the way that they've been presented to me, are always expressed. These gifts, do a lot of times as items, because that way we can relate to it, and that they're very multidimensional depending on what level of consciousness you're at and how you can actually access and operate them. And then when you bring that in and anchor in these different energies, you're actually offering yourself a new experience. You're offering a greater expansion in how you explore consciousness, but then you become a greater beacon and a greater opportunity for anyone that you're connected to and the entire earth field in itself. So by anchoring that etheric here, because we're fully, more focused to the astral, is the way I see it, and where my guides have me share. We're mostly focused to the astral, and the point of bringing the etheric gifts is to anchor the etheric down here, which is the new earth, where the fifth dimensional spectrum begins. Not to get into details of where anything ends or begins, but to bring the etheric back in, where there is no more distortions, and that's the mind. The mind cannot even equate the vastness of God, Creator, Source, I Am, that can only be expressed or understood at any level through the heart space. And that's like been one of my greatest lessons through making this connection. And it was, through a lot of meditation that taught me this, and connecting with both realities. And the astral, you can see, always has a lighter hue. Like if you were looked at a dimmer light and then a brighter light, that's how you can tell the etheric. And then what you can't see there, you can feel in your heart. And we could do that test here. You can present anything, whether you want to check if it's in vibrational alignment, is put it in your heart space. What does love feel like in your heart? And if it doesn't feel anything that you want to know, is it astral or etheric, then it will be a different resonance than what love feels like. Anything astral would be. That's one of the best ways to make the distinction if one were to entertain that particular perspective, and until you actually are able to make that connection on the inner planes of consciousness. So that's what I'd like to share in my own perspective, my own experience, and also in accordance with what my guides have shared.
I love that you brought your guides into it, and everyone in the chat room is just saying that how they love how you are just able to fluently explain it with so much love, and you can tell your heart is in it. So know that everyone is excited you're with us.
I'm excited to start delving into etheric stuff. But
yeah, I've experienced the exact same thing with the difference between the astral and the etheric. When I first started meditating, I was like, oh, I want to astrally project so bad. And then it was like, well, if you're going to go into the astral realm, why are you going there? And if you're going to go there, make sure you have like a crew of guides and protection if you need to go there. But I no longer really resonate with going into the astral. I'm trying to descend my soul into my body so I can experience these higher levels of creation right here on Earth. As I tune into these etheric planes, it's I can see them. They're just overlaid and interlapped with the Earth plane, and this the field, the source field, the matrix that's kind of embedded within this reality. Once you're tuned into that, you just get into this bliss state, and it just opens you up more and more as you get those more and more light codes, and you just keep expanding through your heart, and those negative entities no longer put fear into your mind, because it's an aspect of you, and you're the light of consciousness, so all you really have to do is shine your light onto it. And I mean, I've experienced literally demons in my face, and then shining that light, and them smiling and kind of getting confused and being oh, I want to go home, and then things like that. which is really out there. But if you ever come across negative entities, it's good to know this stuff.
Definitely, I think that you explained that well. That's something I think we should touch on.
For sure.
Is that in the astral realm, you definitely should take a team. I'm sure the guys would each like to talk a little bit about that. But real quick, Nick, I didn't mean to skip you. Did you have any special gifts you wanted to share with us that you've received?
Those of you that know me know that I'm heavily into the mind and the games of that kind of matrix, and I'm just utterly speechless right now at all of what everyone else said. I've felt and I've experienced ways, and it's all just coalescing. And the mind is gone, and I feel like a newborn baby experiencing everything for the very first time.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, Ashton, I love that you're with us tonight.
Me too.
Really, it's good to have you back. I think I had a slight personal question real quick, and then I would love for you guys to go into a little bit more about the different dark beings you can encounter. But just to clear it up, I think part of my personal trying to figure out the astral realm is, could you guys describe what the difference between going in an astral projection and a lucid dream is? Does anyone have any views on that? Because I don't think I understand the difference.
Yes. Through personal experience, I would say that astral projection, more you can visit more tangible things. In a dream, say, dreams are very confusing, and if you look at a clock, it's melting. If you look at your hands, they will start to fade away. And astral projection, you can see physical things, actual events that are happening. One of the best ways to get into an astral projection, if you want to get into it, is through dreams. If you can consciously know that you're lucid dreaming, you can end up sort of going through a gateway, I suppose you could say. But yeah, dreams are more, I don't know, maybe imagination-based, or I know everything's imagination-based, but yeah, I guess the biggest difference is how loose a dream is and how weird and sort of hazy and
Gotcha.
it's kind of crazy.
Babananda, I thought I saw your hand go up. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it.
Sure, sure. I'd like to make a few distinctions in how I perceive it, how my guides always have me to see it and understand it. First, a lucid dream exists in many different realities, that it's not one specific place, but it can be happening in either the etheric or the astral, and that there's so many different scopes that it goes into. The difference being from lucid to, let's say that I wouldn't say just astral projection, I would say consciousness projection, where there's either astral projecting, which is moving your consciousness into the astral, or there's etheric projection, by moving your consciousness into the etheric. So I would say with actual consciousness projection, you're more aware and focused within the human vessel. When you move into the dream state, you're less aware. Even though lucid, you do become aware, but it seems only temporal, and it's not really like you have full control. It may just be briefly, and then you're out of it, where you don't, unless you have really, could be into a lucid dream for an hour and be completely mindfully aware the whole time. With a consciousness projection, I see that as you are completely aware, you're completely focused, and you're completely tuned into the whole experience, whether you're projecting into the astral plane or the etheric plane. You're aware, you're really right there, and that you actually can have, you can, let's say, translate it, you know what I mean? Better to understand it and then use it as a tool. Grabbing from the lucid dream state, it becomes kind of lost when waking into, our waking consciousness. Then it becomes kind of jumbled, and we're not certain exactly where it was or what took place. So that would be the distinction I would make between them. And express it from my own experiences and also with my guidance. So yeah.
I love that. That seems very, very nice. And like I said, you just have a flow with how you are able to describe it. Did anyone else want to touch on that before we moved on?
So the difference between astral projecting and lucid dreaming, right?
Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, so I guess I think of dreaming as almost like an astral projection in a sense. I like the term consciousness projection. I love that. Just to help decipher between like what is the astral realm and what is the spiritual realms, like what are the dimensions, and I think we're kind of defining the astral realm as like a specific place, not quite the entirety of what exists outside of your body or this universe. Lucid dreaming, like you said, can really involve multiple realities. You can have like 100 different realities in one. Or you could have a lucid dream that's a very real place. I've had lucid dreams where I was pretty much told like psychically through, it was just like me and a bunch of little kids, and all the little kids were saying like, this is where we go in our dream time, and like this is really just like a higher reality like waiting for us. It's not so much like a dream world where it's like I see dreams, and like sometimes it'll be like a simulation, like in the Matrix, where they like go to the simulated programs and they like test certain experiences. Say you like have something horrible happen to you in a dream, but then you don't experience that on Earth because you like already simulated it out. You already like kind of worked that karma out in your dream time. But the conscious astral projection is really, you're kind of going somewhere specific generally, either whether it be like the blueprint reality of the universe where you'll see all the grids, and that's what I've experienced. I've gone like to like 1D, not like 12th dimension, but like one dimension where it's like everything's just. If you've ever seen like a graphic designer making a computer program and there's no visuals over it, they're just like grids of like say a mountain or something. It's kind of what I saw. Or I mean, you could remote view, which is going consciously projecting like to somewhere specific, like in this specific plane. Like you want to go to China and you just like remote view over there. Or as what has been the most profound experience for me, when I consciously projected out of my body and just went kind of straight to source, and like there was multiple levels of heaven, so it was like awesome, and then like really awesome, and then like holy moly, and then it was like, because these are like octaves of your own being. So once you get up to the higher levels, like divine masculine, divine feminine, creator, and then once you're past that, there's no duality at all. There's just pure love, pure essence, pure light, and that's where we all come from.
I love your description, because I always explain things through the grid, and sometimes I think that's why I can't explain the astral world. Is I see things on a grid, and I kind of talk to spirit in my own like astral realm, but sometimes it's hard to decipher whether that'd be considered astral realm, because I'm not necessarily seeing myself over my body. I'm lucid about what's happening. I know I'm in a special place in the dimension somewhere, but I think that's what some people are still trying to clarify is astral projecting. You're gonna see yourself, and you're attached to like this string, because that's how a lot of people explain it. So when you said you remote view, it sounds like you can kind of just view them without having to necessarily feel like you're out of your body. Is that right? Or am I?
I think it would, what you're thinking of, like when you project out of your body and you can see your body, that's kind of what remote viewing is.
Okay.
And then astrally projecting would almost, some people would call just like a bad trip. And kind of what I'm talking about is like going to like the blueprint layer of reality. You can do that through psychedelics as well, where things are just like wobbly and more malleable. But once you like bring in those etheric levels and know what the blueprint is, everything becomes more solidified and crystallized and more malleable but less wobbly. I know a lot of hippies who experience like tripping and then like everything's really wobbly for a while.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, thanks for clearing that up for me, guys. Back to what we were talking about. Ashton, I believe, mentioned it before, and I think everyone kind of touched on it, about taking a tea with you because there's some darker things. Did anyone want to explain some of the experiences they've had with these darker beings, or just explain more about why it's good to take your spirit guides or whomever with you into this realm? Go ahead, Babananda.
Well, I would say first and foremost, if you end up in the astral realm, it's probably not going to be your conscious awareness, you know, or that you would want to go there. You know, it'd be like, do you want to watch a horror movie or something that is expressing something that maybe makes you feel uncomfortable or not? We most in the astral because of lack of awareness of how to manage their own consciousness. So I don't know that you would necessarily want to, one, cater to fear consciousness that you need a team because there's no need to be in the astral realm. Two, there's no need to be in fear of the astral realm because it can't hurt you. It can only teach you. It can only make you so uncomfortable that it makes you want to shift your consciousness to actually create a new reality and to realize that you're living in ego in the mind and not in the heart. So I would feel if you want to shift your awareness and move your consciousness to the inner planes of consciousness, I would say first and foremost there's no need to take any fear there. Part of the old paradigm is to have a team and to feel that they are against us. And as we clearly mentioned earlier, the astral is a projection of our inner reality. So we're sharing because it's a collective field, the whole human consciousness is projecting into the astral plane what is taking place on the inner reality. So there's nothing really there to fear. When you have that fear, it's the fear that drives you into the event that allows you to shift your whole perspective, your whole reality, and your new choices. So I would say that you can take and learn from outside sources the difference between the realities. There's an astral plane, an etheric plane. There's different expressions, but if you're that more aware, then you can be more conscious of it and say, well, maybe I don't have to go through what was once experienced in the old paradigm of, trial and tribulation. We're just saying, well, we're just learning to hack the system and say, we just want to go straight to the etheric, to source. Maybe we don't need this anymore. If we're collectively growing, we can say, let's just bypass the astral. And what you'll find, most people end up in the astral because they need to. They need to understand discernment. They need to understand that they are living in ego so much that they can't see it in their own physical reality. They need to see it on a new reality. And and I'll share a little bit of my not specific experiences, but in general. When I first ended up, when I first left my body, when I was more plugged into projection, and of course that was because I learned that was what I had to do, is project and leave. After and so now I see more as just shifting your awareness and to project anywhere because they're all super laced or superimposed over one another. It's kind of shifting your awareness. But let's say, so as I made it to the etheric plane, then I was instantly connecting to the ascended masters and the angelics and such, and they instantly started taking me to the astral. I didn't even realize at first how easily I was shifting to that, but I started experiencing these energies that were not comfortable at all. I started experiencing realities that looked demonic, hellish, and such. And throughout all of it, it didn't matter how much I called for any energies to save me. I was calling from my ego, so I was only calling more of that same energy to protect me, which was just giving me more of a frightening experience. And I had to learn how to actually live in the heart. And if I was going to connect with my actual guides coming from the absolute or the etheric, that I had to call from them from my heart. And this was very important for me because that turned into a truly heart-based consciousness that I could literally live in my heart and not from the mind. And once I learned that, well, of course, I did go through the process of bringing guides in and supporting me, but it was just a scenario because I needed that process to come into that awareness that, okay, I'm calling from my mind, I'm living in my mind, and I'm living in the projection of my mind as opposed to living in my heart, living in the source consciousness field where it's not the human creation but the actual absolute of the etheric. And then at that point, do I need this protection anymore? What is there to protect? Because I've moved through the awareness that I was only experiencing a reality that was coming from discord inside of my own being. And so now what, part of my own divine mission and my personal mission is to share this new awareness that we don't have to go through those same scenarios prior. Now, maybe it is specific to whichever of you viewing, listening to this, may have to go through that because it's very specific to how you're currently experiencing consciousness and how you're maybe projecting it onto others and to the field. So you may have to go through that and go through the process to do that. But I'd like to just share that you don't need a team per se. You don't need to go there, unless it's like going to the video store. What kind of movie do you want to pick up? Do you want to pick up Disney and have a blast and see all the beautiful colors and play with all the different fairies and beautiful things, or do you want to go pick up the Nightmare and say I want to experience gore, death, dismemberment? So it's choice, and I honor them all. I just like to express that there are different opportunities now with new awareness, and that those of us who are actually going through the explorations, and especially in awakened consciousness, we can then provide this new awareness where much of the old teachings, which are all that's already been expressed, they come from a lower form of consciousness, and mostly from an interpretation from the mind, and that's what much of, what is already available to us, is not serving our highest good, because a lot of the direct experience is through the heart, and much of what has been expressed has been through ego, and that is what the new earth and the new paradigm is all about, letting go of even, what we think anything is, because that's trying to finite something, and there is no such thing except for a choice of that older reality. We're moving into an infinite where it can actually be many different things. We can give a kind of foundation or a template, but that's very expansive too. And the minute you try to define it, then you limit it and put a box back around it. So, without going into really too much more detail, that's just the overall perspective that myself and my guide would like to share and make aware. And in future times, like maybe make a video, some of my experiences to help others that may be going through it but don't understand it. Because it is beneficial. Those who are going through whatever these realities, they are away shore and they're here to create big change, and that's often why they have to go into the astral, because they don't understand what the unconscious or the subconscious mind creates and how instantly it creates. So we have to see that to make that shift in us. But once we do it, it's like, well, I don't no longer have to fall down off my bike to ride it anymore, so I can show others, here's how you just ride the bike. It's easy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my perspective.
Oh, that was awesome. I'm just taken away with how much information that your guides are able to provide us with. Someone in the chat mentioned, and I believe you already touched on this, that I said that we could run into darker beings, and that's just because it got touched on, but it seems like you can really touch with angels and all positive things there too. You don't necessarily have to run into bad things. You shouldn't be scared. Ashton or Nick or even Suleiman, would any of you like to share some experiences you guys have had in the astral realm? Anybody you've seen or met or been?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first really intense experiences I had specifically was in the astral realm. It's about 4 years ago. I was going through a mushroom trip with my friends. And about halfway through this trip, essentially my friend became possessed by one of these, and it was like all being psychically downloaded to me that it was like a negative thought form entity who was disembodied, i.e. had no body, was living in the fourth dimensional astral realm specifically, and it took over my buddy Jimmy's body because he was vibrating so high that he was not grounded in his body, so it was easy for the entity to just completely take over his brain, his entire body. My friend was completely gone. He had like a British accent all of a sudden. The entity started possessing everyone else in the room, and it started with like this. It started this like spiritual warfare with me because it like knew that I saw it, and the lights went out. We started like spiraling through these dimensions, and I was getting all these really intense downloads, but the entity kept coming at me, and it was all this just pure negativity. But in the very background of it, this entity was like, "Yo, I'm you," and I was like, "What?" Like, it was just like the faintest thing that, like, if I didn't pay attention. If I wasn't paying attention, I could have missed easily. I doubt I would have missed. It felt all very orchestrated. But it's my understanding that these negative dark entities are part of the totality of who we are. Not our true selves, but an egoic projection that some part of our subconscious or just part of us wants to experience and give us that contrast. And for me, it was like complete loss of fear of going into any situation, whether it be I have to astrally project into the heart of the astral realm, or if I'm going to the grocery store and I want to talk to the person next to me. It's like, well, it's all within my own consciousness projection, and there's nothing to fear. I really like what Babananda said about not having to have protection or guides. I've really gotten that lesson over the last year. It's like I have the power to create my entire reality. I have the power to create stability or protection or whatever it is you think you're needing. And if you're totally in a surrendered state, that protection's just going to be there automatic. There's just going to be open doors that you'll know to follow.
Definitely. All right, so I wanted to touch on Nick and Silman's connections and experiences real quick. And then after that, we were going to take a quick break because I know there's some people in the chat room that need a break for a minute, and if any of us do, since it's past the normal hour, but we want to continue this conversation, so as long as everyone can stay with us, we would love to keep it going. But yeah, if anyone has questions, feel free to send them to me on the chat, and I'm going to put Nick on the spot and ask him about some of his experiences in the astral realm.
For a period of time, I only experienced what one would call good dreams or good astral projections, and I got kind of comfortable in that, and these different energies have kind of buried themselves in there. And then I experienced a few what one would call psychic attacks, or deep in the astral realms and bad dreams, feeling these bad fears. And I was wondering, how can I have these if I'm living in the heart, operating from the heart? How can I be affected in this way? And it brought me to a place that Babananda and Ashton were saying, is that if you're in this heart space, you don't need protection. You provide it for yourself, because the heart is protection. So it allowed me to view the ego for what it was and what it was projecting. It brought into a place of great relief and empowerment that, you can go talk to that person next to you without feeling weird. You can go make that new friend. You can try that new meditation technique. So, whatever you want to do, you're so empowered to follow your highest joy, what you feel your most good that would be provided with that. With full conviction, full childlike innocence, and just getting that experience, that first-hand experience, and you don't need to be harmed or hurt. If you're to teach us, you can't be harmed or hurt. That doesn't even exist. It's the projection of the mind. So we can go through these things and be taught by our guides, be taught by the demons, be taught by the psychic attacks and all of this stuff. And eventually, through experience, we can see it for what it truly is. And it's all just a big fun game to learn.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. I'm gonna put CeeLo here on the spot in just a second, but before I do that, anyone still tuning in, we still are gonna do the cosmic energy forecast after our discussion, and the card reading is to come. So please stay with us. Also, we still have the subscription contest going on for the Handmade Journal. It's Project Bring Me to Life Colors for your dreams or your experiences in the astral realm. So you can sign up on the little sidebar. And Silman, would you like to share some of your experiences with us?
Yes, yes, I would. I would like to touch on the dark entity for just a second. I do agree with everybody saying that you don't need protection from anything. You are a sovereign being. You are an angelic being, a sentient being, and we are all, just a small fractal of the infinite that is God or Source. And so we, as individual fractals, don't have to allow anything to affect us if we don't want it to. So if there are dark energies that are trying to get to you, the only way they can get to you is if you are afraid that they will. And the more you think about it, the more you think they're going to get me, the more they will get you. But there are those who I feel are still not in that place where they are ready to accept that they are their own protection. And so real quick, for those who aren't ready for that, just call on God. Say, please God, please make these go away. Please God, please make these go away. Just, saying something like that will help. Or calling, one guy said he was being abducted and he called on Jesus and they all went away. But you will have to get to a place where you will be your own protection, and it will be a much, much, much more enjoyable experience for you to do that. Also, you can pretend like you're Harry Potter and do the Expecto Patronum charm, and I guarantee you, if nothing else works, that would guarantee work. Just real quick, the astral projection experience, as Babananda was talking about how the etheric is much more heartfelt place to go. At first I thought this was an astral projection, and it might be, but I'm really starting to reevaluate what is etheric and astral now, and I'm very happy that Babananda is here. He's provided a lot, so thank you. My experience was I was in Hawaii, and I was living under this bridge for 3 days, and I was with Archangel Raphael. Basically he was guiding me and teaching me all these lessons, most on faith and having faith. So having faith in yourself. But I ended up traveling out of my body and waking up on it was a beach similar to the one on Hawaii. However, we were surrounded by these giant aloe vera looking plants, There's 13 individuals standing in a circle. We all had dark robes covering our faces, and in the middle of our circle was this hologram, this big giant hologram of Earth, and it was turning, and you could see the grid on the hologram and everything. As it was turning, you see just these red sort of ripples in very specific areas of the Earth, and just remember that we were there to talk about these specific areas and what to do for them. But I can't remember. It's been about 2-3 years now, so I can't really exactly remember what was happening in those areas. But that was my astral projection experience. And thank you for allowing me to share that. Shaman.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that we all got to hear everyone's experiences. Sorry for the echo. So I think we're going to take a quick break because I feel like the chat room is calling for it, and some of our panel may need a quick break. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody in the panel, so if you guys do need to disappear for a second, when we come back, we'll unmute and everybody will be heard. And we're going to take a break and check out Michael Garfield, who is our guest for Tuesday next week. He's a musician and an artist and does a lot of other cool things. So we're going to play one of his songs while we take a little break. So if anyone has to run to the little girl's room or boy's room, go ahead and do that right now. Why is it not playing?
What's that one? You turned your sound up, didn't you?
Nope. My sound is on the...
Tried.
All right. If everybody could unmute themselves up in the top where the microphone is probably red, that way we know who all is back with us. Can everybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Ashton, you're still muted. I saw your mouth move.
Blam.
There you go.
Blammo.
Awesome. Do we have Nick back? There you go. And Babananda, there is a little microphone at the top. If you can re-click it, it will unmute you. There we go. We got everybody back, and welcome back, guests. Thank you for staying with us. We hope everyone enjoyed their break. And I'm going to give it over to Sealmon real quick, who wants to give a shout out.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to those who are listening on Spreaker, because after we do these podcasts, we add them to Spreaker so people can download the MP3. But if you are on Spreaker and you're listening to this, you are not going to hear the cosmic energy forecast at the end. So you need to go to Cosmic Energy Forecasts
Yes.
blogspot.com.
Awesome.
Yay, we did it.
Hopefully they can see you, because for some reason on my feed you're not showing. But let's see here. Let's go ahead and get back into our astral world plane discussion. And we just talked about experiences and everyone's experiences with astral projection. Does anyone want to possibly share any of their scientific research or background, or how they may feel that it's scientifically relevant to us? Any of the details? Go for it, Babananda.
Yeah, my guides would like to share just a way to understand the distinction between the astral plane and the etheric plane. And the etheric plane is basically source consciousness in itself. It is the whole creator field. The astral plane is being created from the human consciousness. So the human consciousness that exists within already the etheric, and what in separation consciousness it is building more fields, and that is where the astral field is being created, is out of separation consciousness. Unity consciousness is the etheric planes, where, as Ashton said, the divine blueprint exists. The other is a miscreation, is what I've called that, because it's being created from a place of the mind, is instead of using the divine blueprint where all the source codes are. So to better make the distinction between the two, as part of duality, it doesn't have to have a dimensional, definition by any means. Separation consciousness exists on any dimension. It doesn't have to be just in the fourth, third. It exists at any dimension. That's where many other entities have came in to play with us on astral. But it's just a choice, like a great play, as Nick mentioned. It's a game, you know what I mean, that we choose as creator beings, cops and robbers or cowboys and Indians, for that perspective. But to better understand it is literally the astral projection is something that is just being created from the human consciousness, which is basically limitation and separation. And the etheric is just basically the absolute, the full source God creator consciousness that's always there. And to change, the perspective that you don't have to project anywhere to go to these places. You just have to release yourself that you are separate, or that you are going to allow that level of program, and especially fear consciousness. All those are what keep you from connecting to your own creator source I am, presence, which is where the etheric planes exist. And that is what basically our objective is, if you will, on this game, is to move back into the heart base. In the heart, there's no disconnection. It's already connected. We're all right there. The etheric is right there. And so the astral is just basically showing us, hey, this will dissolve when we release ourselves from separation consciousness. So that was just one thing they really wanted me to share for anyone that wants to entertain a new perspective in a way to really make the distinction between the two. And if we want to quantify it, that would be perhaps that maybe everybody could better relate to and understand with the little basic logic. So that's what I'd like to share. So thank you.
That was good. So we do have a couple questions from the audience. I'm going to go ahead and touch on those since we have been running a little bit over. I think the first one I got was from Ree. Let me see if I can get it here. She asks, is it possible to go to the astral realm and, hold on, it went away on me. When listening to deep healing music and closing one's eyes, sorry, it kept disappearing. Because I've been at a recent show where it was a huge healing experience for me, and when I opened my eyes, I forgot where I was. I just got so into dance music. Is that what happens? Or where that happens? So I think she's asking, is it possible to kind of go into a trance when you're listening to music?
Yes.
And is that considered astral projecting?
I say it is very possible, very probable.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yes, I would like to say that sort of, you know what it feels like to go into a daydream. There could be a point where you actually do your consciousness or your awareness completely leaves your body, and I think listening to music especially helps the process because it allows your body to completely relax. It allows you to sort of get your mind out of where it's been that week or that day, etc. And so when you do leave your body has to be completely relaxed and basically like in sleep mode. So listening to music not only makes it possible, it makes it much more probable that it would happen.
Awesome. Does anyone else want to touch on that? Ashton, I know you use your music to kind of do something similar to that, so let's see what you have to say.
Yeah, in certain ways, I like to think of the music I play as almost shamanic. Even not all of it's super shamanic sounding, like native sounding, but first, on a scientific level, when your brain is listening to music, your brain notices the gaps in between the spaces of the notes, and those gaps allow your neurons to all synchronize and totally balance into a state of like literally synchronization where they're all connecting and communicating with each other in like a literal harmonic way where if you think of it in terms of geometry, the geometry would be like, you know, like you don't really see much perfect things in reality except for geometry. So the pattern that your brain takes is like a perfect type of neurological pathway for your consciousness to flow through. So I think of these higher realities as like they're like right here. So when you go to a show and you're like going off into other realms, yeah, you're totally going off into, well, some would call astral projection. I wouldn't define it as that, as more of like a total just expansion of consciousness where you're tapping into higher dimensions and realities. I've experienced it myself where I just close my eyes and I'll see like light temples and light cities and just light beings. Like the whole reality just starts to like expand. But I think it's very important to realize that those things are right here in this space, in this now space, and there's no separation from where you are looking at now and like that reality. But just to give a simple answer, like totally yes.
Totally, yes. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, anyone else want to answer Ree's question? I think they answered it pretty awesome, but we would love to hear anyone else's point of view. The actual question was pretty much, do you think going into a trance when music is a part of the experience, is that still astral projection? Everyone else good?
I would like to share just a couple different perspectives.
Go ahead.
Absolutely, the music can take you to many different levels of consciousness, One, if the music was produced in a manner where there was no intention of it to shift conscious, other than it was just created for musical expression, then often that generally leads a person into the etheric, because generally most people create music from the heart. Now there's people that actually use intention to create music to take them to an altered state of consciousness. Now those who are still working mostly from the ego and haven't learned the difference between the two, maybe offering you a direct portal into the astral, and those that would be working from the heart and intent and creating it with intention would be leading an experience into the etheric. So yes, music can induce a altered state of consciousness into either the astral plane or the etheric plane, and therefore it makes a difference, you know, to those. And these are what you'll see the New Age music pioneers, that they'll actually be using consciousness to take you into that reality. Also, you know, like as much as what Ashton was explaining, the different frequencies, the way it's presented, expressed, and the tonality, and also the hertz frequencies and such. So, and then those that are actually using the etheric key codes can take someone into a beautiful place where you're there with the angelics and everything. But those that are pulling the key codes from the astral, they're going to take you to a place that maybe doesn't feel so good. And, you know, but it's all purpose, not to judge at all, but to definitely say it is very much possible. And that is something where I see us all moving into the new earth, is we're actively with intention. We want to continue creating a paradisimal reality, paradise, truly. So therefore, we're going to put our heart into it and say, this is the reality we choose. And now I'm going to express it through my music, and I'm not only going to express it, I'm going to leave it with the notation that this will help you to go into deep meditation when you listen to this, and I've aligned myself to the heart, and this will also make it a little bit easier for you to tune into that reality, so that it comes, when you do that, you then become an instrument yourself. So regardless of you playing an instrument or using whatever medium to create the music, you're also an instrument for the divine will. And then the divine will is going to say, we want to connect you to the etheric planes and the etheric realm. So just being more, using more intention and awareness is what will change those experiences. So that's what I would wish to share.
So true.
Definitely. Actually, Babananda, we got a question specifically directed towards you and something you mentioned earlier, but anyone's welcome to add to it. I'm not sure why we're echoing. Sorry for that.
I
But
think it's your sound. Go for your sound. Just put that down.
so the question directed to Babananda is, when you were talking about the astral realm is created as a collective, if we eliminate duality consciousness, does the astral realm then vanish? And that's from Sam.
From what my guides have presented to me, and using my own logic, I would say yes, that is what will happen. But because it hasn't happened, I can't say for certain. I can only express that I believe it in my heart, and I trust in my guides that yes, that will vanish, and we will be more whole again.
Awesome. Does anyone else want to add on to that? Do you guys think that it's possible for a realm to vanish?
I would say there's an infinite amount of parallel co-intersecting realities, so everything's always going to be anything in creation that was an aspect of creation is eternally there, but you don't have to experience it for yourself. You're constantly switching realities, so as a creator being, you can just kind of look and choose through contrasting realities what it is you prefer. And as divine source being, generally you prefer unconditional joy, bliss, happiness. I mean, that's what everyone says. It's the natural state of who we are. So it's not going to disappear, but it can disappear for you you never have to experience it again. Well, and at the same time, I just feel like I got this download. It's like one big part of the ascension process that Earth is going through right now, even more than just like humanity's ascension. It's as if all of these realities are unifying. So, in a sense, yeah, like we could say like transmute out an aspect of reality to a more loving, harmonious state. And that would be my answer.
Awesome.
Hmm.
So I think we'll start to round up on this roundtable. But Nick Monicky, I want to start with you on closing statements because you haven't got to talk a lot, and I'm sure you have a lot to say.
Actually, not really. I mean, at you, at Philo, Babananda, just like I feel no need to speak because everything that you guys have been saying, it's so concise. It's so easy for everyone else to understand, and I'm sure all of us have some type of experiences that have led us to some type of question that has been asked or answered or spoken about. And with all of these great beings that we are sharing this great podcast with right now, with their experiences, with their guides, with their open hearts, they've been able to articulate these things where any age person, any level of consciousness person can derive their own meaning from it and benefit. Some people may be like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's amazing. But in some amount of time, that person is going to look back or hear this or integrate it right away that, wow, okay, that's really helpful. We don't need to be stuck in duality. We don't need to be stuck in fear. And once we are living in our own power, then the true game begins right then, I think.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you were able to share your closing statements.
Look how happy he looks. He looks so happy.
I know, we just wanted to hear your pretty voice. We haven't heard much of it this podcast. We'll get to your segment here in a few minutes.
I talk way too much in the other podcast, so I
All right. Well, we're going to continue and do some, like I said, the closing statements. Stay tuned. We are going to do our cosmic energy forecast and card readings and segments with Nick. And if Ashton has anything to share, too, he used to have a segment, so we'd love to hear what he has to say. Before we get to that, let's see. Babananda, do you want to give any closing statements or remarks or anything like that? Add anything to your already beautiful description of the astral plane?
I would.
Go for it.
Much of what we're sharing and what we're discussing is, I think it comes down to the best way to make up your own truth about all this is through your own experience and your own exploration of consciousness. And I think that is what we came here to do, regardless of any specific agenda. We came here to explore consciousness in new ways, and whether that we came here to be in limitation, also to find our way into a different reality. And I would invite and encourage everybody to explore yourself, explore the different realities. Don't have any attachments to what you're supposed to expect or what you think you're going to expect, but to simply just explore and without any fear. Whatever comes into your awareness is there, for one, to help you understand reality and to give you the tools and the resources needed so that you can truly be a creator being that is aligned through the heart, so therefore you can create this amazing reality and then align with others who are also wishing to do that. So what I learned in this, I chose to use meditation as one of my main mediums to have a lot of these experiences. Why I was excited to join this panel about the astral and even bringing the awareness of the etheric is because I spent many hours daily going into meditation to follow this exploration, because there was a time in my life where I used many entheogens or psychedelics to induce that, but they were only temporal and uncontrolled. And once I got into really meditating a minimum an hour a day, and I reached 6 months about doing 3 to 8 hours a day, is where I got to get this clear and concise information of the difference between the etheric to the astral, and why I now have a deep connection with my guides and this inner plane of consciousness, and it now allows me to bring that into the physical. And it's been exploration, and that was the resource and the medium that I use. And that's what I'd like to share every one of you to don't be focused on what I'm sharing or anyone else is sharing, other than to use it as, oh, cool, that gives me something to think about, and then, you know, empty your cup again and then say, well, I'm going to go explore it and see what it wants to show me, and then I'm going to use what excites my own joy and makes me want to, you know, use whatever resources that you've already laid out in your own current life, and to follow that. And that, what I see as the true joy of being alive and creating, is to explore, experience, and expand. So that would be my closing statement for all of you beautiful souls who are here at the round table, and also who are tuning in and viewing this, and to have fun with it, and just, yeah, be the love that you are. Thank you. I love you. I am you.
That's so beautiful. But Nick, go ahead.
Is to use the medium of tarot cards, and as Babananda was giving us that gracious message, our friend Saint Germain through to say, work your magic. So Babananda said, it's not about Babananda, it's not about Shannon, CeeLo, Ashton, myself.
Right.
About you, whoever you are.
It's 3D.
Here, and say, hey, what's up? What excites me? What do I want to do? And do that.
That's awesome. Babananda, I want to personally thank you. I'm sure everyone on the panel wants to thank you. And the people in the chat, they want to thank you because you came to the panel with so much awesome knowledge, and they're already asking if we can have you back on another episode. So you obviously did very well explaining yourself. And they are excited that you've become part of the Project Bring Me to Life family. So
I'm honored. Thank you.
we would love to have you back.
I would love to come back.
For sure. We'll definitely let you know, and hopefully you'll tune in and keep coming back to let us know what you think. I'm going to hand it over to Silman. Do you mind giving some closing statements on astral projection?
Astral projection ending statements. Yes.
Put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I really enjoyed this panel discussion. I really didn't know what to expect. I knew what I had and what my experiences were to share, but to hear everybody else's experiences and perceptions, or whatever you want to call them, it's very amazing, and it's a lot of fun. I love it so much. So I thank everybody for co-creating such a wonderful roundtable. It's been truly amazing. Any last statements that I have specifically for astral projection are that, like Babananda said, you have to live your own experiences. So if you are truly curious about this and want to find out as much as you can, you know, if you feel like you're meant to do it, then you should do it, and hopefully we provided you with the right tools to have the best experience that you can for that. And I'm excited to learn more about the ethereal realm, ethereal plane, so hopefully that'll be a future episode.
Yeah, maybe we can have that round table, and Babananda will be back with explanations.
For sure.
We love it. And Ashton, I didn't forget you. What are your closing statements for the discussion before we move on to Cosmic Energy Forecast?
Okay, first, I want to thank everyone individually for being a super badass, superhero, conscious, light being of awesome. Because you're all so, I'm so blessed to know all of you. Seriously. Thank you. As a closing, I feel like, all right, I've got this thing in my head that is saying, first of all, think about, you know, the visual light spectrum and how each color is separated by a certain bandwidth of vibration. So like red turns into orange, and there's that like dimensional crossing right at red and orange, right? So on Earth, there's, let's say, there's these, there's these 12 dimensions, and most people think of Earth as a third-dimensional place, which is true. It's all the dimensions, but right now we're very much vibrating in 3D. And as we move let's say that all the even dimensions, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, are all non-physical dimensions, and all the odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, are all physical dimensions. So we're going from 3 to 5. And one of the reasons we're experiencing a lot of these negative astral realm beings is because we're just kind of going through the fourth dimension. We're going right directly through it vibrationally. So they're all kind of like looking in on our dimension like, oh my god, did you see that? Like, what was that? Was that a human? And we're doing the same here, like, what was that? Was that like a demon? Or what was that? Or anything. So now that you know that, think of yourself as a light, and these entities have been in the dark, like the unconscious, subconscious, unmanifested realms, where once they see this light, they're going to flock to you. They're going to see your presence, and they're going to want to literally shoot through your body to get back to source, because they've been disconnected from their own soul for who knows how long. And you are an embodied soul, so it's a direct chance for them to free themselves from their own separation from source. So for me, that just kind of lightens the load. Like, it's not like there's really a lot of psychic attacks. I mean, there really seems to be, and there is, but on a certain level, it's them wanting to feel that love heart-based connection that you hold so strongly. And that's why they're flocking towards us, especially the star seeds and the light workers and all of that, because you're bringing that higher dimensional reality back to them. You're bringing that connection and resonance back to their being. And I've experienced multiple times where just like negative entities in my face, and I just shine love and like no fear and presence, and they disappear. They start smiling. They completely shift, and it's me completely shifting. I had this dream where it was like one of the most vivid, intense, very almost lucid dreams I ever had. I was staying the night at my friend's house, and there was a storm going on, and I'd just seen this zombie movie, which I didn't really want to see, because I feel like when you watch movies, you like tap into that reality and tend to get created. So I, of course, had such an intense, vivid zombie apocalypse dream where I'm like having to like jump off planes at the last second and like barely survive multiple scenarios. And our group of friends, it got cornered into this back street where there's thousands upon thousands of zombies just sprinting at us. And I wasn't lucid dreaming or anything. It was just like I felt myself doing this. This zombie was sprinting at me, and I just was like holding no fear, just kind of like, oh, I love you, like it's okay. And the zombie like totally looked at me, and it was like its eyes went from like all crazy to like super confused, and it just like stopped. And then I woke up, and I just woke up with this feeling of, it was this metaphor for really how the world is. When you see someone and they're like a mindless zombie, you don't have to judge them as a zombie. You shine your light of presence and consciousness onto them, and they feel their own presence from within. And that might be the first time they ever experience that. It happens to be through you, just being that divine mirror and reflection. And I think that's something that we can really hold on to as if we experience psychic attacks and negative entities.
That's so true, Ashton, and I love that you use the term shine on them.
Shine time!
Awesome. Well, that was an awesome closing statements from everybody. We're going to go ahead and move on over to Cosmic Energy Forecast, and I'm going to let Silman take over for the solar flare update first. And it is now your time to shine, Sila. Go for it.
Ah, thank you, everybody. I love you. I love it. All right, so I'm gonna play this video. Ready? Go. Suleiman here with your 3-day solar flare update for January 27th, 2015. But first, breaking news for UFO disclosure. Wait, sure. There we go. USA Today recently published an article online releasing the United States Air Force's UFO files. The files were dubbed as Project Blue Book. And special thank you to John Greenwald for being persistent in filing Freedom of Information Acts to acquire the files. You can check out the archive of 1.3 million pages of declassified government UFO files at theblackvault.com. And my uncle was also in the Air Force. He told me how he had to file a UFO report for the Navy. So this is amazing news for UFO disclosure. I feel like the government is getting ready to disclose the fact that we have been in communication with ETs. And I don't have any proof to show you that right now, but just throwing out my own intuition. And once this video is on, we're going to go back to the space weather.
There you go.
So solar activity has continued to be at moderate levels. Region 2268, which is beta gamma, and beta gamma means it has bipolar magnetics, but north to south is in a straight line. But 2268 did have an M1 flare on the 26th. That's that big sunspot you see right there. Solar activity is expected to be at low levels with chances of M-class flares. The sun continues. Oh, you see the M solar flare at the bottom left corner of the sun. There it is right there at the very beginning. So that did happen on the 26th. That's also where solar winds have been getting pretty crazy. Oh, 2 new sunspots were named on the 26th, 2274 and 2275, which are right here and right there. So those were named, and both of them are beta, which means that they are bipolar, but they do have a straight line from the north to south pole of those magnetics. Great. And like I said, we're expected to be at low levels. We do have a few chances of M-class flares. Not much of a chance for an X-class flare. These are all at solarham.net. You can find these. So continuing with the solar wind, the sun continues with a disturbed solar wind from the southern crown. NOAA forecasts a continued disturbance with possibility of increasing wind speeds, ranging from 450 to 550 kilometers per second. And I am Suleiman with your solar flare update for January 27, 2014. Now over to Shantastic Sean.
Thank you. That was awesome. We always love your solar flare updates. They were loving it in the chat.
Thanks, guys!
Now I'm going to go ahead and give the rest of the energy forecast. Do you have my photo?
Oh, yes, I do. I'm going to get that up right to nizzle.
Thank you.
Right nizzle.
Let's see here.
Card reading.
Energy forecast.
Energy forecast is up.
Thanks. All right. So for the energy forecast of January 27th, 2015, we have a lot of things going on here. So hold on tight as things we value seem to get a little bit blurry this week. Venus is making a sign change, and it's meeting up with Neptune. Not to mention the Sun and Mercury are doing a little dance as well. Venus moves into Pisces this week. Actually, it started to do that today. So you should expect some dreaming yet unrealistic vibes coming through, likely to pertain to love. May not be necessarily a romantic relationship, but something you love is starting to seem a bit too good to be true. And during Mercury retrograde, be sure that you're getting the full story. Especially the next 4 weeks, they're going to be a little bit, not too crazy, just make sure you're getting the right story. Mercury is completing its first retrograde of the year, and just be careful you don't find yourself emptying your pockets and not being able to survive. It's really important to stay grounded at this time and in the moment at the same time, which is kind of crazy, I know, to stay grounded yet in the moment because you want to go with the flow. But on Friday, there is said to be a crazy meetup between Neptune and Venus, making it hard to tell which side the good guys are really on. So if you're on the edge of some decisions, it's recommended to not leave your rose-colored glasses on and to just keep your eyes wide open. Let's see here. As for the moon is currently in Taurus. It's about 58% this evening. In the first quarter, it is a waxing gibbous. And since it is in Taurus, it usually represents routine and being less difficult. It's also a good time to enjoy good food and relax in your spare time. Right now is a good time to kind of pamper yourself. Good food for this type of moon is plenty of vegetables, salads, very greeny things. So make sure you get lots of nutrients in your life. So all in all, pretty much just watch your backs and keep your eyes wide open and enjoy yourself with an easy routine and some good food. And that is my energy forecast for the 27th and the rest of the week. I guess here, while we still got me on screen, I'm going to go ahead and do my weekly 3-card reading for the collective. I use my John Holland Oracle deck, and this 3-card pool seems to be showing us that we're all having some really strong gut feelings right now. Maybe we're not sure where to turn or how to act, or the universe is just doing some crazy things, and our authority figures don't seem to like it. It might seem like a lot of the people you look up to or were trained to look up to, they look down on you and they're acting like you're doing something wrong, but really it's fine. But if you feel as if your stomach is twisted in knots, it's because your solar plexus is going through some major transformations with the rest of the collective. So don't worry, you're obviously not alone. Try to remember that we're all in the midst of Mercury retrograde, and though it's not something to use as an excuse for everything, it will cause some miscommunications and upset stomachs. The collective is also going through some major changes as always, but just know that big breakthroughs and things are coming, and it isn't looking like we're going to slow down anytime soon. So take a deep breath, focus on your solar plexus for a moment. Know that it's related to the sound of Ram, and it's also a fire elementary energy. Thank you for the sound effects. But it is a fire elemental energy, so maybe soothe yourself with a bath and some candles or something in a fiery sense. Put that fire back into your life. And the mantra for this affirmation is also, I can. That's what the solar plexus really focuses on, is that you can and you shall. So move forward as you gain strength in your own personal power and become your own authority. The universe card is telling you that you just need to do that. And when it appears, it's also to remind us that we've come so far on our journey, and we need to remember that the possibilities are endless. It also shows us, as a collective, that we are accomplishing goals and reaching the stars. And in ancient times, many believed that a star was the soul of one person. And they also said that these souls shine so brightly to guide others through the darkness. And I recently reread a favorite quote of mine that I really want to share with you all, and it's, let your light shine so bright before all men so that they may see how you light the good in the world. And also another one that's my favorite is, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. And I have been blessed and honored to share this reading with you as always, and am excited to hear what everyone else has to say. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Nikki, did you have anything you wanted to share with your segment?
Yeah. Oh, well, fun fact, I pulled a card for myself to add on to your reading, and Saint Germain came again after I shuffled the deck for, like, however long it was.
That just means that he is here. Maybe he is who gave us our technical difficulties.
He is here. In what I've been working on and focusing on in meditation lately, and just all the time, is really tapping into that intuition, hearing that voice, and really seeing where it takes me. 'Cause like I said earlier, those of you that know me, I'm quite in the mind games and stuff. And that intuition, it's such a different feeling from everything else, and it really is a world of its own. And in meditation, I've been guided to just, try to connect with the mother, the divine feminine aspect. When I was younger as a child, I was kind of a mama's boy, and I would always go to my mom for everything. And after a period of time of doing that, I kind of didn't really remember that feeling. And I've really been thinking about that and bringing that feeling through in meditation. Not putting that feeling to anyone or anything in specific, but trying to bring it through the divine archetype of what the feminine energy could be. Like I don't know, I haven't experienced it directly from myself, but it's just something I've been opening myself up to, and that's allowing me to really come in connection with that intuition, with that heart space. And it's extremely beneficial for me, and it's allowed me to really feel into the power that we all have without feeling too distraught when something doesn't go our way, or when we have judgments upon others or ourselves, or anything in general. But just see how the divine feminine energy feels for you. Thanks for allowing me to share.
That's awesome. Thank you for your words, Nick. Ashton, would you like to have a segment again?
Can't hear him.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Cool. Okay. I feel like the energies right now are really calling everyone to step into stillness, get into a quiet place, remember to tune in with nature. A large part of Mercury retrograde is technological misfiring, and I think that in essence is because the universe is calling us to go back into nature, find the beauty in simple things, a flower, a fish, an animal, a tree. Just sit and look without mentally labeling a tree as a tree. Like your mind goes tree, and then like you kind of like deaden it. But if you look at everything with an open mind, in the sense that literally you're not labeling anything or projecting thoughts, as you say, walk through a forest or walk on the beach or watch the snowflakes fall, just kind of see if you can sense your own presence and sense the divine connection that whatever it is you're looking at has. And remember that we're just humans pretending, or we're souls pretending to be human, and none of this is that serious, and it's all a game, and you're doing really well, and if you're here listening, then you're like a creator of the divine, and you're awesome, yeah!
I love how you're doing that in both screens. That was...
That's all I got. Thanks for listening. And thank you, everyone on the panel, again, so much from the bottom of my heart. Everything that everyone shared was like, oh, my heart. So, thanks.
So awesome. Awesome. Well, Babananda, since everyone else got a segment and this is your first show, would you like to say anything even outside the astral realm before we say our goodbyes?
Yeah, I would love to. I would actually love to share a gift from the etheric planes of consciousness, and I'd like to bring it through in the form of light language, so which is beyond human psyche or the way that we even use the mind or the ego. And what the angelic realms, our beloved heavenly hosts, would like to share is a divine blueprint activation, which is a DNA recoding, and also releasing from any types of immediate limitations, any programs that are keeping you from stepping into your divine truth and divine purpose. So the way to work with this is simply be in your heart center and allow it to come through and be present. So it'll just be a couple 2 minutes or so to come through and to really just feel the experience come through the heart. So thank you so much, and without further ado, let me go ahead and bring it through.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much personally for being here. Thank you, Nick Malnicki, for being here as always. Thank you, Ashton, for being back again. And thank you, Sealman, for creating such a sacred space for us. And real quick, just one last thing I want to add is make sure you sign up and subscribe to our newsletter. And next week we're pulling a winner for a journal. It's got lots of nice pages for your astral projections, your dreams, whatever you may feel needs to go in there. And we also have a full week of podcasts every day but Friday. We have card readings on Monday, Michael Garfield on Tuesday, card readings again on Wednesday. The first, on Monday it's going to be with Selena. On Wednesday it's going to be with Sarah Hall, so you'll have 2 different readers. And Thursday we have artist Ricky Shade. So next week will be our first almost full week of podcast, and we hope if you miss one day, you don't miss it the next. So this is my farewell. If any of the boys want to say goodbye.
Yeah. Babananda, were you leading a meditation?
No, I was going to do a light language actual transmission.
Okay.
Awesome.
Can we?
If that's okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wanted to close out with it, so
Okay, sorry.
there we go.
Oh,
Go
okay,
ahead.
sweet. Okay, thank
end
you
us
so
with it.
much.
Seemed like it was important. I didn't want anyone
All right, perfect. Praknishta prakalala turquarishilachna prakati irachna latakarkurushti prakalala turia hatani ishtakarakna papala ircha ura pakala amikati tire prakakurushti prokaialachna praka ikatatakiri ati au urushti prokutuniayana la amana itianya nakakuru kuasa Ishtayaina mawaraka utukurka adi anyala liata takanawa nishilia tukuru kuturlimiaina katala ishtaprakana aturi suesiala liashni brashna nakatuya taia nataka ayata tatu uruku aini mipiaya ala turuku turushia shikiti praini eleliata ni itakakaku ukuriaya mawatakaya alayashti pitiku utukuruku yaya ana atapana yaya yakaku urushtupra atakatia lelia marakaku kutukuri aishti hiniayana mawatake aliyasawata she. Thank you, you beautiful souls, for existing and choosing to be here in incarnate form. I love you all so much. Blessings beseech you.
Thank you.